Welcome to Cweezy Sports Picks podcast. Again, I'm with my man C. Rob. This is Chris Wise. This is podcast number 8, recap of week 8, and we're looking forward to week 9 on woo-wee! Your boy's hot. 9 for 9 on my last 9 player props. We lost on Thursday. We lost the Rams at 12 o'clock, but guess what? We didn't waver. We didn't get down. I locked in at 3 p.m. games and cashed some tickets. I locked in the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles, cashed some tickets. And last night, your boy swept the board on the Bucks Giants. Good morning, Corey. How are you doing today?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm as good as you, but I'm pretty good. Life's good.
Life's good, man. I tell you what.
Actually, the Cowboys, when the Cowboys aren't playing bad, I always rep it.
Always got to rep it.
Yeah, rep it. But life's good, man. Life's good.
Well, good. Good to have you this morning. Let's jump right into it. Last week, real quick on the podcast, couple plays if you listen. I had the Bills money line. I told you to take the Steelers in the points, +4, +4.5. Both cashed those tickets. I told you the Eagles would whip the Cowboys' ass. It was really close. That ended up happening. They did cover with the we'll go into this first. Controversial call. Corey, how do you feel about that fumble? Do you think the refs had Philly covering?
Man, I was really upset about them not reviewing it and not spending more time to review it. I mean, it's clear as day. I mean, the guy's on the ground. You know, Vinny Curry's on the ground. Connor Williams on top of him. Ball's in possession. He's down by contact. Yeah. It's pretty simple. I mean, if you can see it on TV, you should be able to, like, people that are getting paid thousands of dollars to watch these games and review plays like that. Like, it shouldn't happen like that. Now, you know, with that said, I mean, will the Cowboys win the game if that's called differently? Probably not. They might cover, for betting purposes, but I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I just want the Cowboys to win. I stayed up late watching the game when the Cowboys suck. We got Ben DiNucci throwing the ball like an 8th grader back there. Dude, I've never seen it. I've never seen a throwing motion like that. It's ridiculous. You know, I thought that he'd be a little bit better than that, but dude, he's throwing some balls like back shoulder and 30-yard back shoulder throw to Michael Gallup, and I'm like, my God, like I didn't know he was that bad. But
yeah, they call him Gucci DiNucci. You know what I'm saying? But he's about to take his ass back on the bench. Come on, Red Rifle. We want you back. We're ready for you.
Yeah, so the play, I mean, it's controversial. At the end of the day, too, I mean, Mike McCarthy, why are you not throwing a challenge flag, my man? Why are you not throwing a challenge flag? I mean, I understand that, like, the chances of us winning the game at that point might be slim. It doesn't matter. I mean, you never know what could happen. Our defense was actually playing pretty good, holding Philadelphia. I mean, they scored 2 touchdowns, but 3 turnovers. You know, we were playing with a lot of passion, a lot of speed and intensity. And, the Cowboys season is probably most likely over, but it's not over until it's over.
Yeah, we are 2-6, got 6 losses. My bets for total wins on the season was 9. I'm already going to lose that. So it's a little disappointing, but we have injuries all across the board, offensive line, starting quarterback, a little bit on our defense. Our defense did look good. We're going to get waxed this week. We're playing Pittsburgh. I believe we're at home. I think they're going to come in there and wax us. They're 7-0. So right now, being a Dallas Cowboy fan, you better start watching college and see who we're going to be drafting in that draft, boy, because our season's over. There will be no playoffs for the Dallas Cowboys. So hard to swallow, but hey, like I said last time, when you got fantasy, you got DraftKings, when you got gambling, suicide picks, pick'ems.
You know what's funny too? I feel like every year there's always a correlation between or a comparison between the Cowboys and your fantasy football team, right? The Cowboys are 2-6, right? Chris, I believe you're in 2-6 fantasy, aren't you?
Yeah, fantasy this year, I would say I'm in 3 leagues. Man, I'm not out of the playoffs yet. These weeks from 9 to 12 are very crucial, but they have not been going my way whatsoever.
It's honestly been a tough year. I mean, it's with COVID. COVID has affected the season a lot. I mean, it really has. Like, having when the Cowboys went to Seattle, like that game, I mean, I don't feel like that game would have even been close because of the 12th man,
Yeah, 100%.
But with me, I feel like when the Cowboys are really bad, I'm really good at fantasy. It's weird. I'm 6-2, but the Cowboys are 2-6. So it is, to your point, I mean, of having fantasy with the Cowboys sucking. I look forward to fantasy.
100%.
DraftKings too. I've won a little bit of money in DraftKings. Not betting at the moment, but
My boy used to be my partner. Now he's locked down, his little ball and chain, but it's okay because we respect his picks. We respect his thoughts. I love picking his brain. I love picking my boy's brain. S. McGuire, S. Mac. All three of us. This is something that we're passionate about. We love to do, and I'll tell you right now, we're very knowledgeable about it. I would honestly, and this is tooting our own horn here, but you put us in there with anyone on looking at players and evaluating them for the draft, I guarantee you us three would be able to pick some good players. I do believe personnel-wise in the NFL, we would contribute to teams. I strongly feel that way. This is by far my biggest passion in my life besides being a father, probably the same for you. And I love it. Sundays, man, I get all set up. I got the tripod box up, baby. I got my monitor up, my 2 screens on the games, the 2 main games I'm betting, and then obviously the Cowboys game always. And then shout out to Scott Hansen and Red Zone, man. I love that channel. And whenever y'all invented that,
shout out YouTube TV. They got the Red Zone on there. That was pretty top.
All right, let's do a little recap. Last week, I got the scores up here. I know that we recorded this last week, I believe Wednesday. We started out Thursday night football, Falcons versus the Panthers. I did have the Panthers winning. I did have Teddy 2 gloves over 1.5 TDs. Missed on both of those. The Falcons now 2-6, Panthers 3-5. Corey, the Falcons get a win this week and stay in the mix, or do you think that their season is done? What do you like seeing out of them?
Well, what we learned last week is that Julio Jones is still Julio Jones. So when Julio Jones is on the field, and honestly, to be honest with you, what I've noticed is that Todd Gurley is underrated. Like people are forgetting about him. He has 8 touchdowns this year, leads the league in touchdowns. Like I know he's probably not the yardage and all that stuff. He's not the same Todd Gurley, but he's still scoring touchdowns. He's still making plays, still losing games by scoring touchdowns. I've never really heard anybody else do that, but Todd Gurley does it. But no, the Falcons, I mean, they're going to be in it. I mean, they've been in game. Like if you've noticed, they lose, they do stuff like that. If they just fix that, I mean, they're in the mix every game. I mean, I don't think they've actually been blown out in any of the games this year. But yeah, I mean, they're still in the mix, especially with they have the Bucs and the Saints in that division. So I would say they're probably not going to make the playoffs, but I think that they would still, beat some teams that are in playoff contention. For sure.
2-6, probably have to run the table. Maybe can afford 1 loss. We don't know how that wild card is going to shape out. Again, there's 7 teams that make the playoffs, and not 6. So given that
that's true.
One extra team, maybe 8-8 gets it, maybe 9-7 gets in. But man, yeah, I would say I'm impressed. They don't give up. That's right. They don't get blown out. They play hard every game, and they could very easily be 4-4, 5-3 on some of the games that they lost.
I mean, I can say right now, I thought they were going to beat us. That was like a miracle.
Oh yeah, we didn't deserve that game, but with Big Dick Greg put that ball sideways and hit that spinner kick, boy. We were at Joe's. We were fired up. I tell you, that was a comeback. It was good to watch that with the boys. Hey, big game last week. We talked about it. Buffalo Bills at home versus the Patriots. The spread was 4. I told you. Don't take the points, take the money line. Cash that ticket. We did get lucky at the end. Cam on like the 15-yard line running in did fumble. Man, he does not look good, but Bill Belichick came out yesterday, and he dropped his nuts a little bit. He said, we sold out the last 4 years. we've played, or 5 years. We've played in 4 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. And it is what it is. They don't have a lot of talent. They're not the same. I think it will be a little rebuilding year this year. I don't think Cam stays. I think he'll go elsewhere. I mean, he doesn't look very good, but man, Buffalo Bills 6-2, Bills Mafia. How do you feel about them? You think they'll make some noise in the playoffs?
I don't know, man. I'm not too big on the Bills, to be honest. Um, they've been in some tight games. They were in a tight game last week. Patriots, they should have beat the Patriots by more than 3 points. Josh Allen's not looking like he was the first couple of weeks of the year. I do think they're a very good football team. So could they make some noise? Absolutely. They could, but I'm not sold out on them yet. I'd like to see some more. Like when they played the Chiefs, they pretty much got ran over. They didn't play very well. They haven't been playing very well as late. They've been winning, but they haven't been playing very well. They haven't been playing very good teams. So I would like to see them, lay one on somebody, and Josh Allen step up and play like he was before, because he's not playing the Josh Allen that was starting out the year. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I think he was in the MVP running at the beginning of the year, playing really well. These last couple of games, they have struggled. The record is good. The 3-1 at home, 6-2. They kind of got a stranglehold of that division. But Dolphins have 4 wins, if I'm not mistaken. So six
I
wins.
have some stuff to talk about the Dolphins.
You said what?
I said the Dolphins are in my notes right now.
Oh,
we'll talk
okay.
about them in a minute.
What you got about the Dolphins? Let's jump right into it. A game that lost my ass last week. I had the Rams in 2 futures +4. So I had the Rams money line in 2 parlays. Killed me. The Dolphins offense didn't look great, but they have one of those games where fumble to the house, kick return, punt return, whatever it was, to the house, and you can't win football games like that. So what do you think of the game, and what's your notes on the Dolphins?
So first off, I want to say, if I was betting, that would have been a lock for me. Anybody would have took that as a lock. Nobody thought that the Dolphins were going to play like that.
Yeah.
My notes, what I have here, is the defense is one of the biggest surprises to me right now. And the reason why is because when you see a bad team that has tanked, or they've been in the bottom, half or bottom few league, and they start buying a bunch of veteran defensive players, those defensive players, generally, they don't shape up to be the people that they were on the team before, right? And so, like Van Noy, they got our boy Byron Jones, lockdown corner. They've got the other corner on the other side.
Xavier.
Their defense has been the biggest surprise to me, because Xavier Howard, is that his name?
Yep.
Howard, I think is. But their defense has been the biggest surprise to me, because Tua is gonna. That's another thing I want to talk about, is the young QB stars. But Tua, he looks good. I think he's got some learning to do, some growing to do. But I think them throwing him in the mix right now is actually good for him, because their defense is actually kind of carrying them in a sense right now. Fitzmagic was at first, and then their defense has come on of late. But their defense has surprised me the most. I mean, whenever I see a team that is in the bottom tier of the league, and they start buying a bunch of defensive players, veterans, I don't buy into that, because they go into a different. They're fighting. They're just as much alive as anybody in the playoff race. And so we'll see what happens. Trust the process. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you, I love that coach. Flores, I don't know, his last name is Brian Flores, but man, he is good, man. He comes from the Patriots. Shout out to being an African-American head coach. We don't have enough of those. Man, he is doing a great job down there in Miami. Those players believe in him. And I had a great stat the other day I looked at. When they said they're going to start Tua, I'm sitting there thinking, man, Ryan's playing really good. Fitzmagic has got that team balling, and he's a leader, and he's an underrated QB in the league. He's had a great career being a backup / starter for all these teams, but dude, he's made some bank And one thing, they made that trade with the Texans, and they currently have a first-round pick from the Texans. Texans have one loss. So right now they currently have a top 5 pick in the draft, not counting their own first-round pick later in the draft. And so I think they wanted to get 2 out there and say, let's see what this young kid has. I'm not a fan of these organizations drafting QBs back-to-back years. I don't like that. Like the Cardinals when they took Murray, obviously that was a great pick. When the head coach comes in, he wants to take his player, but they just spent a first-round draft pick on Josh Rosen, and so I think it'd be dumb for the Dolphins if Tua doesn't play well to go after Fields or Lawrence with that Texans pick, but I think they wanted to see what they got. But I think Tua is going to be a great left-handed quarterback. I like seeing what the Dolphins are doing down there, and they're being competitive, man. And it is no longer the Patriots division. It is going to be the Bills and the Dolphins. I think the Bills win that division. Yeah, I like what they're doing. Hey, these young bucks, I'm going to go through a couple games real quick. One of my favorite players watching this year is probably the number 1 draft pick, Joe Burrow. Bro, this boy is balling, dude. Last week, 250 yards passing, 2 TDs at home playing the Titans, and they dubbed him 31-10. He is spreading the ball around, and his passing yardage as a rookie is phenomenal. We got Justin Herbert for the Chargers, who's balling. They're giving up big leads, but every team that they're playing, he is slinging it down the field, man. And this is a little bit different, I would say, probably when we were in high school and watching these QBs get drafted, they sat. They didn't play. They didn't come in and contribute. But I think now with the way that 7-on-7 and high school football is evolving and these quarterback camps, these quarterback gurus, they have these players in college ready to play in the pro. They're running pro offenses in college. And even if they're taking a lot of snaps from shotgun, it's not a huge transition to get them underneath the center. And they're playing well, man. I like it. There's not that many old QBs in the league. We got Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, Matt Ryan, bunch of young bucks. So what do you think? What's your notes on these young bucks and who's sticking out to you the most and what's some of the players you like?
So the one thing I do want to say to add to that is definitely nowadays, like the way that the offense is run in the NFL and the way that there's really not like back in the day, you had the Steelers, Ravens defense, the hard defenses that like ground and pound. It was a fight, it's a dog fight. You don't see a lot of those anymore. So I think that mixed in with a lot of spread that's been happening in the league, coming from college, like over the past 5 or 6 years, I would say, like a lot of the pro offense has turned into like a spread type offense. Some teams run pro and, stuff like that. But I think that's what's helped these young quarterbacks come from college to the pros a lot. And it being more an offensive game. I would say Burrow, Herbert, Tua. One guy I want to say I do want to keep an eye on is Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock. I don't think he's played as well as I thought he would this year, but I want to see his growth from next year to the year after because he came back and beat Herbert. He's a slinger too. Herbert's a slinger. Dude, Joe Burrow, I like Joe Burrow the best. The reason why, and I noticed this at LSU, he is poised.
Yeah.
This guy last week against the Titans, big game, good defense, I would say. He's making some big-time throws, man. 4th and 4, making big-time throws. His pocket presence is out of the world for a rookie, dude. He can move around the pocket. He's got his scrambling ability and him kind of being able to maneuver in the pocket kind of reminds me of Tony Romo. I'm not gonna lie, it really does. But he's a baller, man, and I knew that coming out of LSU. I didn't know how well he'd transition to LSU. Number 9, baby. I'm telling you. Honestly, Tony Romo was underrated. For all that type of stuff. But Joe Burrow, man, this week. I could tell the most because there were some throws that he made on 4th down and 3rd down and stuff where rookies they're not making those throws, and he is. And I think the Bengals got a good one in them. So, But I like all the young QBs, man.
Yeah, they're spreading the ball around really, really well. The Higgins, the rookie out of Clemson,
Higgins.
his wide receiver.
I was wondering, dude, at the start of the year, I was really wondering like what was going on with him because he was the first pick in the second round, I think, and he was like one of the top receivers in my draft. If I had a draft board,
Yeah,
he was really good at Clemson, man. I mean, he took over the game against Alabama 2 years ago. I mean, he's a stud. So I knew he was going to come out sometime. We need to get John Ross on somebody else's team because that boy is so fast, but he's not. He just can't play with these guys, like T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They're good receivers, man. I mean, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, man, they're on the upside for sure. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Joe Burrow.
Last week for me, the biggest surprise in the games probably has to be the Vikings going on the road and smacking the Packers around and Dalvin Cook just running wild. That's a game I did not see. Also, too, the Cleveland Browns, dude. What the fuck is going on with the Cleveland Browns? Like, they'll have a game, or actually any bad team they play well. But it was really windy. It was cold. ODB is out now, but man, they put up 6 points. And there's been a couple games where they're scoring less than 10 points. And so that was a game that I flip-flop on. So when we talk about lines moving, when I was younger, I never really watched it. But this week I watched a couple lines move from Browns -2.5 to 3 all the way down to -1. I went ahead and I took the Raiders on my picks. And they played well. And I think Raiders are another team in the AFC that, there's going to be some good playoff games. If we have the Raiders-Bills matchup in the playoffs, that's going to be a tough game to pick. I don't know which way I would go. I might go with Carr and the experience in a little bit better run game with Jacobs out of the backfield. But Raiders win going 4-3. Let's see what else was another one. The Colts getting a win going 5-2. So they're leading their division. Colts are 5-2. Titans are 5-2. Bunch of good games last week. Told you about the Steelers. Lamar Jackson. When it is a big game, when it is playoffs, he's not your typical QB, man. Get Sandez. He's on the practice squad. He's out there making one-handed catches the first day. I saw, hey, if you watching, we're ready to throw up the X. They need you.
I tried to find my old Dez jersey to wear. I couldn't find it.
Dez, 31 years old. You've had a rough last couple of years, man. We're rooting for you. We hope you go up there in Baltimore and you can help Lamar out. But man, if the Ravens in the playoffs match up versus the Chiefs, Steelers, I'm not taking them. I don't like what I see out of Lamar. MVP season last year, and they've kind of balled them up a little bit, not rushing near as much. But if they get down and they get behind, and that's how they have to win the game by throwing the ball, it ain't happening.
Nope. Dude, honestly, I'm sick and tired of Big Ben not getting credit that he needs. Big Ben, 7-0, coming off elbow surgery. That's my man. He's like, dude, I'm telling you, these old guys, there's 4 of them, okay? There's Brady, Big Ben, Breeze, and Rodgers. You can never count them out. If they're healthy, their team's competing, and they're all 40+. I mean, as Rodgers might not be, but I know Brady.
Breeze 41. Big Ben and Rodgers are both, I think Big Ben's 38, Rodgers like 36. I mean, but they're older. They've been in the league for a minute.
Big Ben, I think, that's one of the most under talked about stories right now. I mean, Big Ben 7-0. I know their defense is good, but Big Ben staying in there. I mean, their run game is really not much of a factor. I know James Conner, he's good, but he hasn't had a lot of rushing yards. Him just slinging the rock around to Juju, to Claypool, Deontay Johnson. Claypool, yeah, he's an up-and-coming star, I believe. He's a rookie. My worst fantasy pick this year was Juju Smith-Schuster, I would say, because I thought he was going to have a bigger year, but he still gets some receptions and some yards. But yeah, man, Big Ben, you can't just thinking about, in the future, I'm thinking of the Steelers and the Chiefs playing for the AFC title, right?
Man, I think that's a
And
great bet.
I think that the Steelers are really the only team that can match up in any way, shape, or form. The only problem that the Steelers are going to have with the Chiefs is the Steelers' secondary is kind of shaky. Minka Fitzpatrick is good. Joe Hayden's pretty good, but they let up some plays. They let up some plays. I mean, that's the only thing. But their run stopping game is good. Their defense is good. I like the Steelers to get to the AFC title game for sure. Honestly, I'd love to see Big Ben win another one, but I don't know if that'll happen. Patrick Mahomes is just going to have the crown. I feel like he's a beast, dude. He's legendary.
If the season ended today, this would be our 7 teams in the AFC. It'd be the Buffalo Bills at 6-2, winning their division. Pittsburgh Steelers 7-0, winning their division. Tennessee Titans and Colts 5-2. We'll put both though in there. That's 4. Kansas City Chiefs at 7-1. That's 5. So we have 2 teams. Man, I got to go with Baltimore getting in, and then it's going to be the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Browns. It'll be between those 3 teams, and possibly, man, I want the Texans to turn it around. I want Deshaun Watson here to have a couple of good games. They are playing the Jags. They can go 2-6, keep their playoff spirits alive here. But if we go down to the NFC, we're just going over both these real quick, and then we'll jump into Week 9 games, some of our lean plays, what we like and what we see. The worst division in football, and I think Bama could compete. It's got to be – I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win our division.
No, nobody's going to win out of our division, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, they're going to be one and done in the playoffs 100%. I'm going to lay the fucking mortgage on whoever's playing these teams in the first round. But got the Green Bay Packers 5-2, got Tampa Bay Bucks 6-2, and the Seattle Seahawks 6-1. So those 4 division leaders, if it ended today, would go in. And then I have to go with the Saints getting in.
Not to win the division, though, right?
I'm gonna change it up a little bit. The Bears have fucked me the last 2 weeks. And so they covered the plus points, but I had a money line and a parlay with the Broncos and Seahawks. So it was the only team that lost, and it really crushed my soul on Sunday. But I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams getting the 6th and 7th seed and seeing Kyler Murray in the playoffs. And I even saw some news today that, and this is probably just speculation, but they talked about trying to make a trade for another wide receiver. Adam Thielen. Yeah. I couldn't imagine if they got him.
I would love that for fantasy.
That'd be nice. All right, let's jump in. Week 9. We're halfway through the year. Like we said last week, or like Scott Hansen says, this is the witching hour. So from week 9 to week 13, you better be grinding. This is when we build our bankroll. This is when we get ready for the playoffs, and this is when we get hot. You know what these teams are. We've got 8 weeks of games. That's a pretty good track record and what we can anticipate moving forward. So I'm going to go game by game. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. It was the AFC Championship game, rematch of last year. These aren't the same teams. 49ers are dominated with injuries. Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle both announced out at least 6 to 8 weeks. So that means Nick Mullins comes in as a QB, slung it last week. And that means Jordan Reed will be the tight end for Kittle if he's okay. Right now, it comes in with the Packers -3.5, going on the road to play the 49ers. What do you think about these teams, and what do you think about the game Thursday night?
49ers, they're decimated by injuries. I would rather have Nick Mullins at quarterback than a banged up Jimmy G, for sure. So that, I mean, they always Kyle Shanahan somehow he can still make some plays no matter what's on the field. Honestly, I mean he has a really good offensive mind, I believe. But there's a stat that I'm gonna throw at you that you probably haven't even heard about, and it actually is kind of making me change the way I see this game.
Okay, what you got?
On Thursday night football, when a team has to fly more than 2 time zones to where they're playing, they are 0-11.
Great stat. I love that.
So that's they're 0-11. Okay. So I'm going to take, just because of that, I'm going to take the 49ers to win at home. The reason why, too, is because I feel like I guess they wouldn't be playing this week, but the Packers need another offensive weapon. That's for sure. They need another receiver that can be opposite of Devontae Adams. Their defense needs to be able to play the run better, and 49ers, no matter who's in the backfield, they're going to be able to run the ball. And so I just see the 49ers running it right down their throat, and Aaron Rodgers trying to outduel them, which, honestly, I'm never going to rule out Aaron Rodgers at all. So I'm gonna go with the 49ers, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers won.
Would you, if you were betting, would you feel more confident taking the points at +3 so they can lose by 3, or do you like the +170 on the money line? It is documented. They'll be able to see what your picks are, Rob.
I would go +3. And the reason why is because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I can never count it. I can never really go against them on this. If it was Jimmy G, their defense being fully healthy, George Kittle healthy, and that was the line, then I would be able to say, hey, +170, let's take it. But it's not that. So I could see Aaron Rodgers on a bounce back game, going for 5 touchdowns, throwing 3 to Devontae Adams. That's why I'm so good in fantasy, because I got that combination. All righty.
All right, boy, we try to win some stacks in fantasy, so we don't know how y'all play. We're at least going to put $100 on our fantasy league. I know I'm in 3. I think Corey's in 3, and it's an investment. We talked about this, and it's a year-long investment. And not only does it give you other teams and other players to watch besides your beloved shitty Dallas Cowboys, but it also gives it to you, like, we're 2-6, and we're a dumpster fire, but it doesn't matter on Sunday or Thursday night or Monday night. You have your plays, you have sports betting, you have DraftKings. Man, I love it. We said this years ago when before DraftKings came out, we said fantasy football was going to blow up, and it absolutely blew up. And here we are telling you again, sports betting is going to blow up. It's going to be almost in every state. It's going to be kind of like marijuana. Once they see the amount of money that it generates in each state and what they're able to do with that money for the schools, for the roads, for the community, it's going to be everywhere. So if we take a dog on this podcast, Corey, and we're taking a dog outright to win, we go, we're taking the dogs, baby. I ain't taking the dogs here. Packer, I don't know what the stat would be, but Green Bay just came off a loss at home. They're going on the road on a short week. I do think this will be a good game. I don't have a play on this game, but if I was to lean,
I like the over.
I would take the Packers just to get a win here. Hey, we got some big games. Big games this week. One that stands out to me the most is the Buffalo Bills are going to get another test. They just had the Patriots come in town, and they beat them. Whew, my boy's cooking. Russell Wilson headed to the Buffalo Bills with the best wide receiver in the game. The best wide receiver in the game. This boy is huge. I love him.
Best wide receiver in the game and best wide receiver core in the game.
Oh, he's Jack Stack. He got that six-pack, boy. He probably got a big old slong, too. That boy's catching every pass. He's catching every pass. And he's a beast. DK Metcalf. I told him before the year, I took his player props for TDs and yards. They're going to cash. The boy's a beast. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. Either money line -150, great bet, but I also like it that it's under 3 points at -2.5. I believe the Seattle Seahawks go on the road and get a dub versus the Buffalo Bills this week. And Josh Allen, I think he will have a good game. Seattle's defense is pretty soft, but he's not
So
going to be able to outduel Russell. That boy is cooking. He's got the second most passing TDs through 7 games in NFL
he's
history.
he's on he's on a tear.
There's only 3 QBs that have hit 50 TDs in a season. That's Manning 55, Brady 50, and Mahomes 50. And I think Russell Wilson has an opportunity this year to be number 4.
So on that game, if you're betting on it, I want you to go get your mortgage. I want you to go to the bank. I want you to tell them, hey, you can either take Seattle money line. Okay, that's the mortgage. And you know what the over is in this game, Cweezy? 51 is the over in this game. That is absolute money. 68 degrees, supposed to be on Saturday in Buffalo. Sunny.
Sunday.
Or Sunday, I'm sorry. Sunday in Buffalo. There's no reason why. These defenses are both not very good. The reason why I say Seattle money line is because their defense isn't very good.
Right.
And so they could win by 1 or 2 in a 37-38, scoring game or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, they're going to score more than 51 points. I can say that right now. And Seattle Seahawks are not going to let the Buffalo Bills beat them. The Buffalo. This is the game. Okay, if Josh Allen comes out and beats Seattle, okay, I'm all for Buffalo. But I guarantee you, what's going to happen is Russell Wilson's going to cook. Tyler Lockett's going to have 15 receptions, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Either one of them, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, doesn't matter. Either one of them. But yeah, I love the Seahawks. I love Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson for MVP. If you don't have that in your ballot, you better put it in there because it's going to happen.
We a couple of interesting games. These teams aren't the greatest. They both got a win last week, but we're looking at the Broncos and Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 4 points at home. You get a -200 on the money line. I actually do have a play on this already. I put it in yesterday. I took a parlay with the Bucks to win. They won last night. Took the Seahawks to win, and I also have the Falcons to win. It pays a little bit less than even, so you bet 100, you win 80. But I do think the Falcons get on a little roll here. I like them being at home, and man, I do like Drew Lock's little cockiness and his dance moves and how he flings it. But I'm gonna go with the consistency. Todd Gurley, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, new head coach, getting a win at home here.
I agree.
Buffalo, or not the Buffalo Bills, Chicago Bears and the Tennessee Titans. Fuck the Bears. Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick, mother trucker dude, what'd you do last week to me? I had a 3-team parlay. The only team that didn't cash was the Bears. Pissed me off. I don't know if I can ride with them. I don't know if I trust that offense. Who do you got winning? Bears, Titans. Right now, the spread is -5.5 for the Tennessee Titans.
The spreads. I think that's a big spread. I like the Bears defense, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think the Titans end up winning. Money line. I would take money line if I was betting. Definitely would take Derrick Henry touch. The guy's a freaking beast, but. Yeah, the Bears offense, they scare me, man. We made a trade in fantasy, and I didn't even start the quarterback that I got from you because it's Nick Foles, and he sucks. No, he don't suck. He don't suck. But the Bears. Their
offensive line is bad.
Yeah, they're very bad, and they're not very balanced offensively, and so you can't win like that. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to throw the ball. You got to be able to get 3 yards on 3rd and 3. Just Nick Foles got to play better. He's turning the ball over a little bit. They're shaky. I don't like the Bears offense. I like Tennessee in this game, which the Titans are another team that we haven't really talked about much, but I mean they're on the rise as well. Well, they just made a trade for the Chargers corner Desmond King. He's a 2018 All-Pro. That's a good pickup with Malcolm Butler on the other side. I like that. I like the Titans. I think the Titans might sneak into the playoffs again this year and do some damage.
I like the Titans. I like the Titans here on this, especially them being at home. And another wide receiver, man, there was a ton of wide receivers last year that were drafted that are studs, and A.J. Brown is one of them. Number 11, dude. I love this kid. And I'd say before the season.
I have one thing to say.
What's up?
This is related to fantasy, okay? So last week, okay, I have almost my whole team on the bye. This is what separates the people that are good in fantasy and the people that aren't good in fantasy, okay? Is how you pick up players week to week, okay? Corey Davis.
Ooh.
Sitting on the wire. I don't have a flex. I have nobody. I'm picking somebody up. I had 3 receivers that were projected to do better than Corey Davis. Who did I pick? Corey Davis. What did he have? 8 receptions, 128 yards, and a touch, baby. That's what you do. That's what you call a pickup. That's what you call a spot start.
Ooh, I love spot starts, baby. That was a good start.
Go. Release him.
I picked him up as well, but I did set him on the bench. So I do. He's getting a lot of looks here. A lot of looks, a lot of targets. Tannehill, dude, what was Miami doing, man? Like, Miami got Tannehill. They let him go. He goes and backs up Mariota last year and comes in, and, dude, the boy got the bag. He got paid. He went to the AFC Championship game. He's playing really well. But I love A.J. Brown. I love Mike Vrabel. So I would say, being a Cowboys fan and the coaches that we've had, God, we've had a lot. I mean, Dave Campo, Chan Gailey, Bill Parcells,
Wade Phillip.
Oh my God.
Wade.
Bitch tits Wade Phillip.
Hey.
It's been tough, but what I love is, and we talked about this, Kyle Shanahan, top 5 coach. Flores, Miami, top 5 coach. Mike Tomlin, top 5 coach. And I'm going to put this other coach in there. We know Bill is the best. Bill's 1A, right? Maybe. I mean, he had Brady. He was doing great. Now he's not doing so great. I think he's a great coach, but like they said, they've been dominant for 20 years. They got to have one down season. But Mike Vrabel, bro, I watched the video of Mike Vrabel in his practices, getting in a defensive end stance, working on the tight ends. He's a player's coach. And I just absolutely love everything that he brings to the organization.
I like him. And back to what you said about Ryan Tannehill in Miami. You know who his head coach was in Miami at the time? Adam Gase. 0-8 Jets.
The worst coach in the league.
Let me tell you the best player trade so far this year is the linebacker from the Jets going from the 0-8 Jets to the 7-0 Steelers.
Woo!
He put a picture on Instagram of him standing outside of New York with his thumbs up, looking for a ride. Dude, that is like the best thing for a player. In-season trade from an 0-8 team to an 0-7 team, or a 7-0 team. That is awesome, dude. I would love to be him right now.
I would love it too. He probably already had his off-season vacations planned for the Jets, and now he's got to change them because he's going to be in the playoffs, baby. All right, let's jump in a couple more of these games.
Jets are on fire, so I don't know what the heck.
I'll tell you right now, Adam Gase is the worst coach in the league, and the New York Jets are the worst organization in the league. And I don't understand how he still has a job. He is the Jay Cutler of coaches. He gives no fucks. His demeanor in his interviews, he is like, I can't stand him, dude. And then when he got hired, y'all need to go look at this. When he got hired and he was doing his press conference, that motherfucker's eyes were like this. I don't know if y'all saw it. Y'all need to go check out his interview when he got hired. The boy looks like he was like on some drugs or something. It was weird, but I'm not a big fan of Adam Gase. Guy sucks. That's probably why.
Do you see those little cartoons they make every week, like the Gridiron Hots or whatever?
Yeah.
They do like funny stuff where they talk about the league. Like that.
Yeah.
Dude, they did one 2 weeks ago for Halloween, and it was like a ghost of Peyton Manning. He's like, I made Adam Gase because he was the offensive coordinator when Manning was going off. That's why he has any job is he won the Super Bowl with Peyton. I just don't understand how he has a job. I mean, they fired the coach that they hired and signed Adam Gase. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense. We've got a couple more games on the slate. We'll go through real quick before we wrap this up. We appreciate you guys listening. Hey, go ahead and hit the notification on the bell so that way anytime we upload a video that you get that notification. Go on the right-hand corner and subscribe. Go check out my IG at cweezysportspicks. Go check out my Twitter at wheezypicks. As of right now, we don't have Corey an Instagram or a Twitter for the sports picks, but we're going to be working on that in the next couple weeks. We want you guys to interact with us. Leave comments. We'll comment back on the YouTube page. Send us a DM, comment on Instagram. We want this to be a community. We don't only want us to be talking about this. I've said this before. We want all of us to win. If it's DraftKings, great. If it's fantasy, great. If it's sports betting, we love it. If it's betting your uncle and whatever for $20 on the weekend, it doesn't matter. We're all about getting on the green, and we're all about making money, and we're all about putting out our knowledge of the game for you to do a little recap. Last week, I told you, take the Bills money line. They cashed. I told you, no respect on the 6-0 Steelers traveling to Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson ain't won a big game since he was at Louisville. Let's go, baby.
Hell yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
We got a in-division game. We have the Detroit Lions traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings with a major upset last week, beating the Packers on the road. I like to give a quick shout out before we get your analysis of the game. I love Kelly Vegas or Vegas Kelly. I'm not sure which one, but she is on she is a big woman, not a big woman, but a big woman in fantasy football and sports betting. I started following her. Go give her a follow on IG. She's very knowledgeable. She's a host of a couple betting shows. Kelly Vegas. I really, really like what she's doing. There's not a big community on sports betting, and I think we looked over this, and that's kind of why we wanted to start doing this, because you got your guys doing your daily fantasy draft. They're posting videos every single day. They're getting a lot of subscribers. But there's not a lot out there that is a big moving part of sports betting. And that's kind of what we want to do. We want to get you the right picks. We want you to make money for your kids or take your wife out or, let daddy get a new driver, whatever it is that you want to get. We're trying to make that money. So in division game, and the reason why I brought up Kelly Vegas is because she loves these, and she's been taking the underdogs, and they have been cashing at a high rate. So with this game right now, that stands out to me is the Lions +4 and money line at +170. So I'm taking the dog, baby. I'm taking the Detroit Lions money line +170. Let's get it. What do you think about the game?
Honestly, both these teams, they're back and forth every time. I mean, the Lions will play good, then they'll play like crap. Then the Vikings will play good, and they'll play like crap. It's just they're always back and forth. I'll go with you and Miss Vegas over there with the Lions. We get the let the dog go.
Let's go, baby. Cash some tickets. Did I mention your boys 9 for 9? My last player props, baby, got hot, and we're going to keep it rolling this week. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you give us a follow, because I'll be posting on my story them free plays. All last night, I gave you all the free plays. I gave you Gronk. I gave you Leonard Fournette. I gave you Tom Brady once, but Tom Brady twice, and then a live bet Buccaneers, 12-point favorite, straight money line. Cash some tickets last night, baby.
I do want to. I want to shout out Tom Brady, man. 43 years old and he's still balling, man. It's a lot of respect. A lot of respect. He's balling. I did not expect him to go to Tampa and play this well, especially after the week 1 loss that he had to the Saints. I didn't count him out, but I was not expecting him to do what he's doing right now. And he's killing it. He's got a redemption game this week in Tampa Bay. Sorry. Forgot. It's Tampa Bay now. It ain't Tampa. Against the Saints. I'm telling you, the Bucks, they didn't play very well last night. I think Tom Brady missed some throws early on in the game. Their defense played, pretty good, but they didn't play as good as they did against Green Bay or anything like that. But I'm telling you right now, this Bucks team is probably the most well-rounded team in the NFL, just from every standpoint of the game. I mean, even special teams, they are. And so I am so excited to see some of these older quarterbacks that are in the league still, see how they hold up in the playoffs. And one more thing I want to point out about that is in the playoffs, there's always been 2 teams from each conference that have a bye. Now it's just 1. That's a big factor in everything. Last year, that was a big factor for the Patriots because the Patriots with Tom Brady, he didn't have that bye week. And so he didn't have that rest for his old legs and his old arm. He didn't have it. And so they lost. That's a big change in the playoff, the way the playoffs look.
100%. I think it puts a lot more value in some of these regular season games. Like you look at the Saints, you look at the Bucks, and very easily, I mean, they're right there with Seattle on who's going to get the number 1 seed. So all these games are important. I mean, the Bucks right now are minus 5.5. They're minus 245. I do think it's a little bit high. I think the bandwagon for the Bucks is getting filled up quick. I think everyone is jumping on this bandwagon. I was a believer in the beginning. I told you to take the Bucks to make the playoffs. I told you to take the Bucks over wins, and I told you to take the Bucks to win their division. And I feel really good about that. I've been very successful on some of these future bets that are season long. This is going to be a badass game, Sunday Night Football. And you're right about Tom Brady. We are watching Jordan, bro. I mean, we really are. And we've taken for granted for it. I'll never forget that first Super Bowl he won versus the Rams. And to think about how long ago that was and to see him still doing his thing at 43 is absolutely amazing. I mean, Breeze is 41 too, and Breeze can't move the ball down the field like he used to, but his accuracy and his precision passing is still what has him in the league and still has the Saints winning games.
Yeah, he's been missing his star receiver every game, so pretty much since week 2, I believe. And so once they get him back, which I think is this week, hopefully, I think that offense gets a little bit more lethal.
You know who comes back this week?
Antonio. Dude, you know what they said? They said when he walked into the facility, he was in game shape. That don't happen. That boy's a monster. He's a machine, dude.
He's crazy, but he's good.
He's crazy as fuck. But dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm excited to see the growth of Antonio Brown over this past year. He went from being one of the best receivers in the game, right, to a bunch of controversy off the field, bunch of mental health issues, whatever was going on.
He's a rapper.
With him, okay? Him and Dez Bryant both. They both were out of the league. Okay, I've followed both. I've followed both of them. Okay, Dez Bryant has said he's going to keep working until he gets his opportunity. He's going to keep working until he gets his opportunity. Antonio Brown definitely had a better chance of getting on a team. But what I want to see from Antonio Brown, we know he can play. But can he be a team player? Can he be there for the team? Can he not touch the ball until the third quarter, fourth quarter without throwing a fit on the sideline? He's passionate. I like it. Dez passionate. I get it. But at the same time, Tom Brady's going to spread the rock.
Yeah.
AB, you better come in and play as a team or you're not going to be playing, man. You're one of the top receivers in the game, but I'm excited to see his growth. I think with him and Big Ben, when he was with Big Ben, he was sound. He was one of the best receivers in the game. He still had his flashy, I'm trying to think of the word, but he was flashy. He was kind of like a
he kicked a punter in the face on a kick return. You remember?
Yes.
He said, "What's up, bitch?"
Dude, I'm excited, man, for Antonio Brown to come back. He's explosive. And he's gonna continue to be that. I think it's just if he's gonna be able to be a team player is the big kicker.
I think it's really crazy too. he's moved in with Tom Brady, and that just got confirmed yesterday. He's actually living at Brady's house until he finds a place. So what a better person. I mean, we've already talked about how great Tom is on the field, but man, off the field, this guy is he's a legend, and he's probably the best football player we've ever seen play this game, and the consistency that he's had, and it's truly amazing. I mean, golly, I'm 32, and when I get out of bed, sometimes I'm hurting. This fool is 43, getting sacked by 300-pound linemen, and is still out there loving it and so fiery. So I do love it. We're gonna get into two games real quick. Last two games before we wrap this up. Podcast 8, week 9 edition. This is cweezysportspicks. We got C Rob, Corey Robinson, and we got Chris Wise, C Weezy, baby. And we have a game that I'm really intrigued here. It's almost a pick 'em, and it is the Las Vegas Raiders playing Las Vegas Raiders playing the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are at home. Chargers have blown 16-point leads in like 4 or 5 games this year. It's crazy. So the young QB is playing great, but they can't close it. This is another dog going on the road. I am taking the Las Vegas Raiders money line here, just like we did last week at even money. I love Josh Jacobs. I think he's the top running back in the league. What do you think of the game?
Same thing. I think I love Herbert. I've got him in fantasy, but I think he's. I don't know if it's because he came from a Pac-12 division and like he hasn't, been in those situations. Like Joe Burrow, I feel like is more poised than him. And late in the game, I feel like Herbert turns the ball over a little bit, or he kind of turns the ball over to start, or in the middle of the game when they have a lead. You just can't have that. But I think the Raiders are an up-and-coming team, man. I really do. I think John Gruden's got this team on the rise. And honestly, man, with all the talk that we've been talking about with all these teams, I'm telling you, before that 4 o'clock Eastern deadline, there's gonna be a trade that changes something big in any conference.
I hope so.
And I hope so too. I mean, I love to see it. But I think the Las Vegas Raiders are gonna they're going to be a good team for the next five or so years.
I'll never forget
Carr,
when
he don't get talked about much. He don't get a lot of fun.
I think when they signed Gruden and they traded Amari and they traded Khalil Mack, he knew what he was doing. They knew that they had to rebuild and they had to get draft picks. Let me tell you some of those draft picks they got. They got Josh Jacobs. They got Jonathan Abrams as a safety. Boy's a beast. I think they got Max Crosby, defensive end. And then this year they went and got Henry Ruggs. I mean, I like what they're doing. I like the way they're building it there. Everyone was on Gruden's case the first year, but I do believe this is year 3, I believe. And I think they finally are seeing the fruit of their labor. I do think they get a win this week and they up in their division. So let's wrap this up. You got any final closing words for the people out there before we get off here today and start our day?
I do. So, I mean, I've enjoyed it, man. Honestly, I love doing this. Like you've said before, this is our passion. This is what we can talk about. We can talk about this for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, honestly, I mean, it's just something that I love to do. I've got a couple group texts that I have with people that we just talk ball. I talk with my boy cweezysportspicks all the time about ball and life. It's my brother. One thing I do want to kind of put out there for you guys is one of our goals to do this too is betting and gambling can always become a problem for somebody if you let it. Me and Chris have definitely had our times where we've been down that road. We've gotten out of that road for sure, 100%. I'm currently not betting at the moment. That's just my personal choice. I love talking bets. I love talking sports. So I think one of our goals in this community is definitely to kind of emphasize on things that can get you going down that road. If you just don't pay attention to what you're doing, if you're just throwing in bets, if you're just not tracking what you're doing, you're gonna go down a road that you don't want to go down. Betting can be very, very manageable, and betting can be very fun. It can be very something that you do on your spare time as something that's a hobby, and it cannot affect your family. It can't affect, if you have money to feed your kids or buy them Christmas presents. You have to be reasonable with what you're doing. You have to know how much money is in your bank account. And one thing I can tell you right now, the biggest thing with betting, do not get credit. Don't get credit. That's what's going to kill you. Honestly, if you got some money, credit's fine. But if you don't have money and you're playing on credit, it's going to kill you. At the end of the day, it's going to kill you. So have fun with betting. Be responsible.
Be responsible.
Manage your money. Yeah, be responsible. Bet. Put the mortgage on it on some game, man.
Yeah, I'll follow that up, and it's both from experience, man. I mean, I've been in this game now probably about 12 years, and when I was younger, it was kind of flying by the seat of my pants. And we had a lot of credit, and we were betting more money than we actually made or could pay, and it wasn't a good situation. And we've learned from that, and we've grown from that. And just like everything in life, you should want to level up, and you should want to get better, and you should want to be more experienced and be more thoughtful on your game. So one thing, don't bet outside your means. If you can only afford $25, bet $25. If you can only afford 3 bets a weekend, bet three games a weekend. That's it. And don't get crazy with this. There is an opportunity to have a little side gig. For some people, there's an opportunity to make this a full-blown job for them, but they take it serious. They don't wake up Sunday and just put a game in. They follow practices all week. They know who's in, who's out, what the weather is, what the trends are, how these teams have been playing. And that's what we're trying to bring you. If you ain't got all the time, let us do the work. Let us give you the picks. You ride us, and let's cash that ticket. Cweezy Sports Picks, recap of Week 8, going into Week 9. This is C-Rob. This is Cweezy. We appreciate you. Have a great week. Cash them tickets.
That's that ticket, baby.